And welcome back to part 9 of What If Naruto and Zanpakuto, the Tenken edition. Last time on Naruto What If, Sasuke gave the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan through the surgery he obtained from Tsunade under the orders and guidance of, under the asking of Itachi. And they agreed, albeit hesitantly. They then proceeded to fight Pain, Naruto, and Itachi lost his life only to, in the process of using all his power to use Susanoo to seal away the curse mark. And then they fought Pain. Naruto went to go visit Naruto, and he restored everyone's life force. It ended with Orochimaru and Kabuto showing up to Obito, finding them, and saying, I have a proposition. Well, the proposition, obviously, is the Great Ninja War, using Edo Tensei and whatnot. All I ask is that Sasuke be mine. Very, very well. You may have Sasuke Uchiha if you desire. If that's what you desire. But only when the key of Nine-Tailed Fox is obtained. Very well, then. And so, we now have a little bit of a change-up. So, Danzo is still made the temporary Kage at the moment. He still goes to the Kage Summit. This is due to the fact that Akatsuki still attacked his brother, and he wants to, go and talk about it. So they go. That conversation honestly goes damn near the same, minus the fact that A gets to keep his arm. Then they had back out of there, only to be stopped by Obito, and he takes care of the two Arutnin, and Danzo, being Danzo, is preparing his his Izanagi, his Sharingan. And as Obito's looking on, I was like, you really think I'll let you prepare that? You really think you have a choice? And all of a sudden, Danzo looks down, and he sees a blade sticking out of his chest, and says, you've really proven useful, Danzo. But unfortunately, I no longer have use for you. But my new beneficiary does. So, unfortunately, I can't have you releasing any of those Sharingan. And he wasn't going to use Shisui's Eye, because he needs to keep Shisui's Eye if he could. So he's coughing up blood, and it hit his heart, so he's bleeding. Now, granted, hitting yourself and getting hit in the heart doesn't mean instant death in the Naruto world. Hell, in the Bleach world, you can tear out your heart and survive, for fuck's sake. Turn into a sexy man wolf. But in the Naruto world, you can definitely survive for a little while. And then Kabuto shows up out of the shadows. Yes, unfortunately, we're going to need all those Sharingan. While Orochimaru-sama does not want the Sharingan for himself, Toby here would be more than willing to make use of them. Bring me his Sharingan. I will have it. And he's going for Danzo's just Orochimaru's just kind of turning the blades. He's starting to cough up blood. Oh, don't worry, Danzo. Soon the darkness of death will take over, and you'll be ridden of this burden we call life. And Danzo's just thinking back to everything and in his past with Hiruzen and everyone else, and he's like, no. And he finally he opens his chest, and as we see, as Kabuto's right there about to take the Sharingan with his chakra scalpel, all of a sudden they see all the seals, and Orochimaru's eyes wide, Kabuto, run, get out of there! But it's too late, and just boom, and then basically pulling everything into his body, exploding seal, and then Kabuto, unfortunately for him, got caught up right in that blast, and he is, he done, he dead. There might be some feet left, and that's it. But they get out of there. He crushed the Sharingan, crushed all the Sharingan. It's and they're just it blasted Rootin. He had a plan to the very end. He never would have gone quietly, would he? It seems not. It also seems I've lost a valuable asset. Your comrade, he was something almost akin to a friend. if things like that could ever be considered useful. Still, he will be missed, at least for now. As he collects Kabuto's remains, like, what do you intend to do now? Unfortunately, the Sharingan was my first priority, but I have another matter to attend to. Just keep up your end of the deal. Deidara and Kasami will keep up theirs. As Kasami and Deidara both go after Killer Bee. And Kasami alone could have pretty much would have beaten Killer Bee straight out in a fight. Deidara would not fare well against Killer Bee, I don't think. His lightning chakra and his mastery of it would defuse everything that guy is basically throwing at him. Hell, even if he did the microscopic shit, he could just defuse it with his lightning chakra and his system. The ATLs could help him out with that. Now, because they could go 2-on-1 in this, it might prove a little difficult, but I have a feeling Deidara is going to want to go first, and then Kasami goes in, tries to overwhelm him. Killer Bee would already be a little tired out from the Deidara fight. But then A comes in with both his arms, and they decapitate quote-unquote Kasami. We know it was replaced actually with a Zetsu club. So at this point now, Tsunade wakes up, news travels about the death of Danzo. Sasuke hears this, and he doesn't know how to feel about this. Like, Danzo, he knows, among the few remaining members of the whole Uchiha Massacre Planning Committee, we'll call it, he was the one that had, like, the most say in it, and he was the one he harbored the most ill will towards, but now he's gone. He doesn't know how to deal. He feels a little bit of, like, a weight lifted off his shoulder, but he feels like heaviness is like, well, now what? And Sakura just goes to him, Sasuke, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I just need to think, I guess. And it's like, all right, that's fine. And then fine. She wants to, and I think what she does, honestly, is like what she does in the Force. That's like, if you ever need to talk, and she just gives him a hug from behind. It's like, I'm here if you want to talk. And she gives him a hug, and he kind of tenses, but actually relaxes to it, and he kind of, likes the hug, and is like, this does feel nice. Ultimately, Naruto gets squished onto the island. He gets put onto the island with Killer Bee. Sasuke is on the front lines, doing his thing. Honestly, Sasuke would be a big asset, but there wouldn't be any drastic changes. It'd just be a lot of the same stuff. Deidara would still get brought back to life. Orochimaru is manipulating the pawns from the distance, or from the cave. Think words here. Obito is making his 6 paths. Naruto goes and trains to master Kurama's chakra. Now, with the chakra training, this is a very big thing. There's a big difference here in that when he goes to try to take off the seal, he has the key. He is stopped by Minato. It's like, Dad? Huh? The fourth? It's like, Minato, Fofokage. Ooh, sorry about that. He goes, what were you planning to do, Naruto? I see. And Naruto explains this, and Naruto learns he's his son, kind of punches him a bit, but it's not as bad of interaction as they had last time. And because Minato doesn't actually have to redo the seal this time around, he is actually able to stick around a lot longer. He had enough power to redo the seal, and then he kind of had to peace out. Kushina was the same way. She only had so much power, but because Naruto because he doesn't have to reseal the seal, he could, in theory, aid Naruto. But I was like, thanks, Dad, but this is something I have to do on my own. I'll watch with pride. And Minato actually sticks back and stays around and watches. And as the fight goes on, we'll get to what actually happens in the fight in a second. Someone comes up and is like, so you did show up after all. Of course you made so I'd be able to meet my son after all. I just hope time doesn't run out so I get to see him, actually talk to him. It's like, don't worry, our son's got more than enough time under his belt. And so Naruto's fight with Kurama begins, and he's throwing out their Sengans. He's got the Sage Mode. He brings that Tenken, and it's like, this is like the best you can do, brat. Bankai! Kakujo Tengen Myo! And Tenken's there too, because they're in his inner world. So Tenken throws the Bankai, and now it's clashing with Kurama, and it's explosions. And Kurama actually laughs. It starts doing a tail design. Your past is strong, brat, but you forget. I've been in your mind the whole time. I know exactly what this sword's weakness is, and just blasts the, fires the tailpiece bomb. Sajin's, Tenken, the Tenken, Kakucha Tenken Minyo blocks it, but takes the full brunt of the explosion. And Naruto's there, and he's bloodied, even though he's in Sage Mode, which is strengthening the Bankai. He's still bloodied up because the Bankai's bloody up. Yeah, I don't remember. I know everything about your connection with that blade. Yeah, anything that befalls you befalls the blade, and vice versa. And the same goes for the other way around. And it's like, he's right, Naruto. Bonk, despite our power, Bankai isn't the right way to go about this. It's like, this isn't good. And all of a sudden, chakra chains come and say, well, sorry, I know you want this on your own, but it couldn't help but step in. It's like, Kushida, next time you want it. Mom? It's like, yep. It's like, now I can hold him for a while, but hurry up and beat him so we can at least have a father-son, mother chat. And she just guys, and I was like, I will. It's like, you will not be. You're not gonna win because I'm never gonna give up, and that's my ninja way. And he just uses the Tenken hand, goes back to Shikai, and basically the whole struggle, tug of war struggle with the souls. Basically, uses that art to just pull it out and throw it back in, and he gets the chakra mode and all that. And he has a nice conversation with his mom and dad, and it's all that ends well. Kasame is revealed, gets beaten by Guy, all that goodness. They do not get attacked by Mondo 2.0. I don't see that happening, actually. Excuse me. So I don't see that happening. Ultimately, Naruto and Bee leave the island, and Naruto scatters the clones out. Now, this would be a bad move normally, and it is a bad move. Saji even I keep saying Saji. Tenken even points this out, but he does also point out that with the Fox Chakra, with the Fox Cloak Chakra, or Chakra Cloak he has now, it will help strengthen the clones, so they will be able to last a bit longer. Bankai is going to be out of the question for everything but the main body, but we definitely can do something with. But the Shikai is probably doable. And so all the clones go out. Naruto even meets up with Sasuke. And the clone leads them to Naruto's real body so they can team up. But along the way, they run into, obviously, the Nagato and the Itachi clone. Itachi still planted the Genjutsu because that scene would have still happened in Naruto that released him. So they ultimately beat Nagato down. And then Madara gets released. And yeah, so that goes to hell for everyone. Naruto's actually able to aid pretty well with Tenken because he's able to basically cut the meteor with the sword and just boom. I must admit that's impressive, but that chakra, I recognize it. The Nine Tails. So they still have possession of the Nine Tails Fox, and they even managed to get another Jinchuriki involved down the way. Interesting, but still not enough. And he starts blitzing and doing everything he does, and the Kages square up against him. There's going to be a big difference with the Kage thing in just a minute. But Sasuke and Itachi finally meet up with each other again. And it's not the same conversation it is in the original. It's Sasuke, I see. So you did walk the path of protecting the village. I protected the things I still cared about. And that was my friends. And because they care about the village, I will protect the village too. I still don't love the village, but there's been things that have been wrecked. There have been things that have been things have changed. All I want is the best for you, Sasuke. When it's over, I hope you can have a life beyond this hatred you've had this whole time. And it's like and Sasuke is getting a little emotional, but he looks and he's like, don't get all weepy on me, Itachi. Now let's go cut the head off a snake. And so they make it to the entrance of the cave. No, Sasuke, you've come to me finally. And Itachi, I must admit, I truly did underestimate you, didn't I? So you did. Release the jutsu, Orochimaru, before the worst falls upon you. It's like, now why would I do something like that when it could be so much more fun to make you squirm, make you work for it? It's one of, and Sasuke is the guy who says like the way he just pulls out his Susanoo arm with like or he puts Amaterasu on his sword, and then he even wraps a bit of the Susanoo chakra around it. Because I can imagine that'd be a thing he could do. Since you enough experience and time, it's like there's only one of you, two of us, and there's no way you could take both of us on, let alone one of us. First off, I'm more than capable of taking at least one of you on. But then again, who said it's just me? Who said I'm by myself? And all of a sudden, they're like, they can see that with their shotgun, the chakra seems like crap. It's like, I've been so lonely since Kabuto died. I couldn't live without him. So I decided to bring him and some friends back to play. And there is Kabuto, his right-hand man. Thank you, Lord Orochimaru. Do not fret. I'll find a way to bring you back permanently. You're too useful of an asset, Kabuto. And I'm very grateful for that, Lord Orochimaru. But also there is his sound 5. Not 4, 5. Kimimaro there too, because they had DNA of him on 5, clearly there. He couldn't take his body because of his illness, but they have his DNA there. So, yeah, and now it's like, well, this isn't, and Sasuke's like, well, this has been trouble. Sasuke is mine. The rest of you take Itachi. And so Naruto just licks his lips, and he just pulls out his sword, and they clash. And Naruto isn't stupid. Sasuke still got the flame on him. He's like, remember, Sasuke, if you kill me, you'll never undo the Edo Tensei. And Sasuke realizes that too. He's like, he's right. It's like, crap, I gotta undo the Amaterasu. And so he just brings back the sword, and they clash. But lightning style, Chidori Senbon, wind style, great breakthrough. And they clashing, and the elemental advantages take place. Striking Shadow Snake, and but Susanoo just crushes that, and they're going back and forth. Meanwhile, Itachi's having to basically go through a 5-hole shinobi, curse mark enhanced Edo Tenseis of all freaking things, and then basically finally just says, "Screw it, Susanoo," and just he goes through and pulls out. It starts first off smacking these fools around, blowing up the entire area. Blowing up and just destroying the entire area. And then all of a sudden, you bring in Tuska Blade and just boom, starting sealing. He goes for Kimimaro first. He can tell Kimimaro can say it, and he gets like, oh, like, what? That's right. It's the Tuska Blade. You're the one who. And Sasuke's, he never had that moment of realizing he's the one who had the Tuska Blade. So you had it, Itachi? That's right. Luckily, thanks to you, I don't have to worry about running out of chakra. He starts going through and sealing the entire Sound 5. And now Orochimaru's like, this has gone very badly. But still, Sasuke will be mine. He just shoots it, and Sasuke gets, damn it all. It's like, no, you don't. And suddenly he gets hit. It's like, I see. It's like, all I'll have to do is... And then Itachi basically gets struck through his chest, like, and you think, and closes his eyes. You think I'll let you catch me, Itachi? No, sorry, but I won't let that happen. And he just runs it through. He's starting to reheal. He's going for the seal. Sasuke comes in with the sword again. Shadow Snakes binds Sasuke, and he's about to hit Itachi when all of a sudden he's back. He's back, about to take Sasuke again, and then he stabs Itachi. Basically, when he closed his eyes, Orochimaru was so elated that he had Sasuke kind of bound for a second and stabbed through Itachi. He didn't notice that while Itachi did close his eyes, he still had his eyes partially open and still caught him in the Genjutsu. So now Orochimaru is ultimately caught in Izanami. And at that point, they use the technique to undo the jutsu, and they have their goodbye. And it's a different goodbye. It's like, I love you, little brother, with all my heart. Live well, grow well, live well, love well, and have something beyond what the Uchiha had. Bring us back to be what the Uchiha were supposed to be: good men who love their home. You bring back the Uchiha clan. Bring it back the way you should bring it back. And he just gives him the forehead, and Sasuke's crying there, and it's all happy. It's like, oh god. And so Orochimaru's just stuck in the prison. Meanwhile, Obito has been attacking Naruto and the group, or Naruto and Killer Bee. He's got the tail beast out. He summons Kokujo, Tengen, Myo. He's fighting him off as best he can, but it's not enough. And ultimately, that's when him and Kurama finally, make peace. He goes into Nine Tails mode initially, wipes the floor with him. And then all the shinobi forces save the Kages. The Kages show up. And they're not showing up because Kari's not there to heal their asses. unless she's there with him, and I don't think there really would be any need to. No. Um, so, yeah. So he's so now we got the Kages. I keep saying Hokages. Now we have now the Kage is kind of on death's door. They're not able to help in the Shinobi War. We have, Madara still, Madara coming to the field. Obito ultimately gets beat by a combination of Sasuke, Naruto, and Kakujo Tengen Tail Beast mode. He fuses his Tail Beast mode with Kakujo Tengen his Bankai, and the Susanoo, which makes for a hack freaking technique. And they move in tandem and beat Obito. Madara then uses Obito to bring himself back to life, and ultimately he is, ultimately he starts to take the Tail Beast. They get injured. Now, are they going to be saved? Because we don't have the Kage. There's no Karin here who's trying to, Karin there. Sakura's there. She can save Naruto. And maybe with enough luck, the thing is, Tsunade's not dead, by the way. She was alive and being cut in half by a giant-ass tree limb. So, she's still alive. She's just suffering. Like, the Kages are not in a good spot. Like, most of the Kages, though, can still walk it off. They can still get up. Unfortunately, Tsunade, not so much. But I would argue that Sakura might be actually trying to save both their lives, as she is able to, as she basically gets them both there. The problem here is that there is no Edo Tensei's Minato. There are no Edo Tensei Kages, Hokages. None of them. So the Flying Thunder God stuff doesn't happen. Minato giving him the other half of Kurama isn't happening. So it's a pretty dire strait here. I think ultimately they are able to be saved. It's by the skin of their teeth, and Madara does get his Six Paths form. Or at least the pseudo Six Paths form he had. But it's rough going. There's an argument to be made. I will continue with Pastor, but there's an argument to be made that kind of SOL'd at this point. But I'll keep going, because there's one aspect of Tenken we haven't addressed yet, and I figured out the way to do it. Is that after Guy goes Night Guy and beats the living crap out of them, or Madara, and then is dying, Naruto shows up, blasts the Truth-Seeking Orb away, does the whole, saving his life thing, and they immediately go into Six Path Sage mode. And then obviously Obito's going to give Kakashi back his eye. They are able to, fight on par again with Madara. And then, he activates the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Kagura shows up. They fight in the extra dimension. At that point, first off, Kakashi goes Kamui Susanoo. Sasuke goes Susanoo. Sakura's kind of just there. And Naruto finally goes, Bankai! As she's throwing the Ash Dust Bone technique at him. Kakujo Tengen Yo! Daigonjo! And there you see the giant skeletal apparitions. And Kaguya was probably somewhat aware of what was going on inside Madara. She's like, I don't recall this technique. This is not a technique you used. It's like, and even there's Water's like, this is the true power, unleashed through the power of the Sixth Sage. And the Ash Bone hits Naruto, but it just bounces off. It's like, what? And she's like, what is this? She just hits the construct. And Daigonjo is a pure, in the Bleach here, it's a pure Reishi construct. Basically, it was purely indestructible. It couldn't be destroyed. And Sajin was the same way because they shared a connection. While Naruto has this Bankai activate, his body can't be damaged, which means the Ash Bone technique just dinked. And so now they are three, and then Naruto and then Sasuke decides wrapping Susanoo around him or giving more power, and they just clash again and actually put Kaguya a bit on the back foot. She goes in that giant mutated form. They ultimately stop her, seal her back up again. Naruto gets rid of Black Zetsu. And that's really actually the end of the series. I was wondering if I could complete it in this last one. I guess I did, because I was actually able to think out what I wanted. But the aftermath of it, first off, not until the last spell happens, he ends up with Hinata, la la la. Sasuke winds up with Sakura, la la la. But there's no fight at the Valley of the End. There might be like a fight to test who's really the strongest, but that's about it. So, that said, Tsunade, I don't think actually make, because she spends like majority of that, and now she's spent the entire time cut in half. So Kakashi's made the sixth Hokage, and Tsunade's just, unfortunately, she's passed. And Orochimaru is still out there. He isn't as reformed as he is in Boruto. That is one of the things I actually did kind of like about Boruto, is that Orochimaru is still Orochimaru, but he's like a little bit more of a reformed Orochimaru. He's not necessarily doing the best things, but he's not doing evil things. I want your daughter, Sasuke. No, he's not doing that. Hell, he wished Hinata and Naruto a happy marriage. So apparently he was he's in more positive standing with the village in Boruto than he was in Naruto. I believe there's some sort of truce. But he eventually would probably snap out of that, and he'd be a villain probably in Boruto again. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot that would happen. I saw the Tail Beasts go out and do their own thing. The few that want to remain with people or remain with people. Like I said, as well the people who get hook up still hook up. And yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought this might go until, when I thought about all the story beats I was going to hit, I thought this was going to go into one more part, but I guess not. I guess we are ending on part 9. This is the end of this What If. We'll start new on Wednesday. And luckily for you folks, I know which one we're starting with. And it's one that a lot of people have been asking for since I started doing this. And I'm finally getting to it. Happy I'm finally getting to it. So keep your eyes out for that. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you folks next time.